Hello, everybody. This is Sully, and I'm nervous as hell. This is probably the first time I'm ever going to put anything substantially long out there, but it's my girl's birthday, so I figured it's time to, you know, stop talking about it, stop being about it. Initially, my little blog was going to be just about my story. It started a few years back. Uh, I was out on a run like anybody else, dragging her through the dark shadows of Brockton, and coke and heroin binge, and the two of us looked like a couple of research monkeys, and we were sitting in Good Samaritan's hospital, and I decided I was going to go outside and blow my head off because I couldn't do this to my girl no more. And right as I was getting up, the nurse said, "All right, you guys got to take off." And I begged her. I said, "Please, just let her sleep for a little bit. I just got to go do something." She goes, "Yeah, you got to go pray. If I let her sleep, you got to go pray." And somehow I fell asleep in a chair. But when I woke up, the nurse was walking by me in the hallway with this look like, you busted our agreement. So I said, "Oh," I ran out. I said, "Where's the chapel?" And she pointed, and I took off at a run. And when I got there, I kept on running, man. I slid in. I slid up to the chapel like I was, like I was stealing home base, man. I was knees burnt from the rug, and I looked up, and this is the second time. I'm kind of went out of whatever you call it, order. But on this time, I said, "Lord, if you don't come into my life again, I'm gonna kill myself." And it was like I got hit by a bolt of lightning. I don't know. I just remember a young Spanish gentleman standing me up and helping me over to the door. And there's my girl standing there with all our gear, everything, looking all fresh, dressed, eating, everything. I'm like, what the? I thought it had been 5 minutes. I guess it had been about 4 hours. We were going to miss the methadone clinic that we were on, and but for some reason I was just like, "Nah, we're good, we're good." She said, "We don't even have money." I walked up to the first woman I saw. I said, "Miss, would you mind helping me get to the methadone clinic?" And she handed me a $10 bill. And I walked out to the bat bus and I said, "Sir, I don't have anything smaller than this." And he said, "Just get on." So, um, first time in my life that a bat bus was ever broke down on me, and it broke down about 50 feet from the bat terminal. And right across the street is a Dunkin' Donuts. Now, I'm not going to sit there and wait for another bus to come to drive me 50 feet. So we step off, and my girl goes, "Well, now we're definitely not going to make it." Um, and she's bullshit. Uh, I still haven't slept. I look like, who did it and ran. So I said, "Baby, what can I do?" She goes, "I want a coffee." So we go to walk into Dunkin' Donuts, and here he is, Steve Urkel, wearing a bright orange worker vest that says redemption down one side and waste down the other. It's the stickers from the trash barrels they use around Brockton. And just to mention, the night before we were sitting in the hospital doing Florida Man. You put Florida Man in a date, and some wild stories comes up. So we had been doing Florida Man, Florida Man. Well, this guy walks straight up to me and he goes, "Hi, I'm the Florida Man." So I jump back like, "What the fuck?" And he goes, "Do you want to waste your life or would you like redemption?" And I said, "Oh shit, I could use some redemption." And he goes, "Well, come here, Sully, come with me, sit down." Shh. He keeps putting his finger in front of his mouth, telling me, "Shut up." Now I wasn't even speaking, so I didn't understand it. But not too much of this makes any sense. But first of all, he said my name, And he said, "Would you work for $50 a day?" I said, "Look, man, I just gave away 8 grand in $100 bills out of my backpack, walking around high. I said I'm broke, and I would work for anything." And he said, "Good, because you're worth more than that. You're worth $2 million." And he wrote that down on a piece of paper. And he said, "But you're gonna have to sign a contract." I says, "What?" And he says, "Yeah, I got a contract. I got a contract with the city, with the state, with the country, and with God. And you can too." And he goes, "You want to know what the contract is?" And I says, "Well, what do you got?" So he tears apart a Dunkin' Donuts bag and he writes contract with Sully. And he writes, "Get her warm, get her something to eat. Stop thinking the way you've been thinking. Stop lying and manipulating for drugs and money. Keep doing what you were meant to do. Ask for anything you want and you'll receive everything you need." And then he stood up, and I tell you, this is another crazy part, man. He made the whitest towel. I'm talking like super white, just appear out of nowhere, just materialize a towel, and he put it on the table. And he goes, "What do you call Jesus nowadays?" No, I know. He goes, "What do you?" Sorry, whoops. He goes, "What do you call God nowadays? You call him Jesus, right?" He goes, "Well, now you can have a contract with Jesus if you're willing to sign it." So, I figured, what the heck? I'll reach down and I sign the contract. And he grabs me and he says, "Listen, 18 years ago, you gave your back, your body, your mind, and your eyes, and you've been giving away everything since. You've given up your family, all of your, belongings and credits. Uh, and if people that don't know me, I went down to 9/11 when the towers fell, and I was there for 36 days doing corpse recovery and bucket brigade and pet recovery and all other things that don't sound that bad. But I tell you what, I've always considered myself a pretty, not squeamish or, pretty well put together. But the carnage and the sadness, the death, is something that I can't explain. I had a Vietnam vet tell me that I had PTSD. And he goes, "Oh shit!" And he goes, "Man, I couldn't do that." I said, "What?" I said, "You were in fucking Vietnam." He goes, "Dude, I got my chopper got hit by a bullet. The thing fucking went down in the woods." He goes, "They came and got me." He goes, "I broke one of my legs." He goes, "And now the VA takes care of me for the rest of my life." He goes, "I didn't see shit." He goes, "For 36 days, you saw death and destruction." And you know, and I always thought it was the best thing I ever did, and sometimes I think it was the worst thing I ever did. Of course, I'd go again in a second. I see faces. I see lots of faces from all of the pictures that were pinned up all over the city. But Channel 4, David Robichaux from the Channel 4 news station did a couple nights with us, put a big thing together so my family could record it, and they had that. And my fiance at the time's father was a big Southie guy who, dragged me around the city, popping it into every VCR he could find, and everybody was so proud, and it really kind of lost its luster. I was living with the 14th Ladder Company, a bunch of guys that live directly across. Their station is directly across from Tower One, and they lost their whole day crew. And I mean, uh, I met people down there that I worked with for just a few hours. I watched an old lady one morning asking for tools, and by 9 o'clock at night, she had an assembly line 100 feet long, building wheelbarrows as fast as you could. I mean, they were flipping off the end as fast as you could take one away. She'd have another one coming. I mean, one little old lady put that together. I got Channel 4. I said I got a free ride from a taxi in New York City. Um, I won't lie. I've basically been on a real bad kind of drug run since, self-medicating. I'd work, I'd make money, uh, I put the pieces back together, and then somehow I'd crash and burn. The last 2 years I spent living in a tent at Walmart in Brockton. Um, I had a condo out over Nelson Beach. Had a demolition company with a crew of 16. Had my first apartment when I was 14. And I'm 42 years old, and I'm living in a pop tent behind Subway and holding a cardboard sign asking people for money every day. But I tell you what, I found Jesus on that island. I really found Jesus on that island, and I know that sounds a little, crazy to say after what I told you about that. There's another little part of the story. It starts off in Plymouth County Correctional Facility. I got arrested for carbon monoxide poisoning. I was driving a car. I tried to buy some of that fake weed shit and got into a wrestling match with the guy at the gas station. Destroyed the whole place. 3 in the morning. He didn't think I tried to pay him. The money fell out of his hand, and he realized later, so he didn't press charges. But Judge Moynihan in Brockton, this was my 11th offense of driving with no license. So when they asked for no bail, they said, there's no question of bail. It was a medical problem. He said, yeah, make a bail. They said, I don't know, 500. He said, 5,000. By Mr. Sullivan. And so I was sitting in there, and my father had just passed away after doing a lot of time in Plymouth. And every month he'd buy everybody on the unit that didn't have sneakers, he'd buy them sneakers. They used to call him the shoeman because he hit up his annuity, Another, mind-altering, substance-loving, good person, you know, um, my dad. But the pastor came around and said, "You're always doing shit for people in here when you come in, and what do you want?" And I said, "I want to be home with my girl for Easter, which was in 2 days." So he said, "Well, why don't you hit your knees, claim Jesus as your Savior, and ask him to get you home for Easter?" So for the first time, I hit my knees. I asked God to come back into my life. I apologized for turning my back on him down in New York. I didn't realize then that, men had free will. And I really, please, Lord, get me home. I will take you as my Lord and Savior. And 2 minutes later, they call my cell. I'm sitting in isolation, man, because I also tried to bring in an ass load full of Suboxones, which, me being in there, I got 36 booking dates, man. I got a toothbrush hung up in frickin' property, Most of the guards, I know what key fits in what door. So I was screwed. They call us to Sullivan, pack it up, you're going down the book. And I said, come on, man. I knew my girl had like $80 to her name with a $5,000 bill. I said, stop fucking with me, Goldie. What did you hear me talking to the pastor? And he said, No, dude. I'm not fucking with you. Pack your shit or give your stuff away and get your ass out of here. And the door started to open. And I mean, I get down to booking, and a friend of mine, one of the CEOs, says, "Yeah, I think your mom bailed you out." I said, "No, no, trust me, that didn't happen." He goes, "Yeah, you don't look like a Fuentes." I says, "Why?" He goes, "Yeah, a woman by the name of Alenda Fuentes came in, put $5,040 on the counter, and walked out the door. I've never met this woman a day in my life. I've tried to find her, I can't. She put the money in my name, so when the case was over, it went to me. Couldn't even pay her back." Um, I'm not trying to make this a real religious thing, man. But at the same time, I'm trying to make this a real religious thing, man. You know what I'm saying? I like to make people laugh. I did stand up comedy for a long time. I like to sing. I like to dance. I like to make people laugh, mostly with my singing and dancing. Um, so I tell you what, these podcasts that I'm going to keep putting out there, I can promise you they will be uplifting. They will carry a good message. They probably make you laugh your ass off, you know. I'd like to get a lot of people involved with me, have some people call in, come in. I'll come to you. I don't even know how I'm going to do it, man. I'm just doing it. But I want to get the message out there because, you know, it's never too late. Like I said, I found Jesus. When I really found Jesus was standing on that island. Because every morning I'd wake up dope sick with nothing. And I would walk out there and I would ask him to come into my life, my heart, my soul. And for 2 years, every single day, those people gave me what I needed to get by. And I'm not saying it's the right thing, but it's the only thing I know or knew at the time. I haven't seen my daughter since she was 4 years old. She's 18, man. To try to deal with that every day, the only way I knew was to self-medicate, you know. I've had over 200 broken bones. Just recently, I was hit with a bat bus, you know, on a little motorcycle. But I'm a healer. You'll hear stories about that too. Some wild shit, man. I know God's got another plan for me. My grandmother always told me I was born of royal blood and that I was a healer, an old Irish healer. I used to rub her hands so she could do the dishes, you know. And I don't know, guys, if anybody's even watching. I just promised myself and a few other people that I would get this started. So hopefully this phone has been recording this whole time, or I'm gonna probably go hang myself. I hope everybody out there is having a decent time. If you're going through some shit, I feel you. If I had a phone number, I'd give it to you. If you leave a comment here, leave a number, I'll call you. Because I tell you what, I've been through it all, man. And the best thing about being through it all is coming out the other side and being there for somebody else, you know. Uh, if nobody told you they love you today, I do. Um, if nobody told me to take a shower today, they're out of their mind because I smell like a monkey's ass. And on that, I'm off this. Peace.